Good afternoon. Today is October the 25th, 2022. Trading and investing of any kind carries risk. Everything discussed here is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken as financial advice.
Market data connection lost.
Oh, stop it. Can't even get through a...
Market data connection reestablished.
Yay. Thank you for that. Guess I should turn that off every now and then. But I'm trading. I can't. So anyway. Like I said, today's 25th. So let's look at this day. So the futures last night, did its little thing. And then, starting into pre-market here this morning, what did we get? We got this W. Boop. Then we got this other W. Okay, so yesterday I'd mentioned that there didn't seem to be a whole lot that wanted to take us down. And I mean, that kind of seemed to be the case, right? I mean, it just pushed and, it just had no quit. It just didn't know how to quit. So now, where would you have gotten in this? Well, if you know anything about double bottoms and triple bottoms, fantastic. A triple bottom's a pretty solid, okay, well, it's probably going to turn and go the opposite direction, right? So, well, I mean, we had a quadruple bottom. I mean, two W's that really just touched pretty much in the same spot. And then, basically it just started to push. This little W kind of did its little thing and tried to complete this little micro W, and then it had a little pullback, and then, it decided, hey, you know what? It's kind of like the Forrest Gump of everything. I just decided to keep running, and then it did. It completed this W, had a little bit of a pullback, then completed another one here. I mean, and it just, after that point, we basically had a bit of a pullback to VWAP. Now, if we jump over to SPY, I'm pretty certain we touched VWAP. Actually, did we? Oh, yeah. So we did, right? We had that push, had that tap on VWAP, pull back to VWAP, and then, I mean, basically just a VWAP push all day, and then, not all day, but all morning. Then just basically move sideways. And as everybody was sitting up here thinking, oh, it's coming back down, well, they were kind of right, because you got this M that's set up here. Let's measure this, actually, now that I'm going to get into these M's and things. Because we had a lot of little micro patterns. They were just slow. So let's see what we got here. Now, that does not ready. Let's change the time frame. If we can't get a little more pep in our step here. Well, let's look at this. What do we got here? Okay, so we had these W here. That's funny, the further we go in, the more there seems to be showing up, huh? Fun times. Do it again. Not like I didn't stare at this all day, but whatever. So let's see here. What do we got? Let's just use this handy dandy cipher tool. Oh, that's a way more than a cipher. We consider that. I don't know. Okay. Measure that puppy out. There must be more inside of it. This is the problem. Every time I go down, I keep seeing more. We pushed at 161.8. That must be a shark pattern. Saw a couple of those today. So basically, on a higher time frame, before we start digging and doing this, because that's going to take forever if I keep up with that. So let's look here. So basically, what we had this W down here, pushed, gave us a little bit of a love tap on VWAP, pushed up, gave us a bit of a pullback right here, right? Got this, had this little wonky looking M up here. I say wonky looking, let's measure that. Weird little M. Is that a sharp pattern too? We pushed a... It could possibly be a cipher. Possibly so. Depends on where we measure it from, I'm sure, down here. 1.8. Yeah, that could be a cipher. Anyway, so yeah, we had this M pattern, whether it's probably just considered a cipher, just because of the pullback to complete this top shoulder here. But this also might even be able to be considered like a pipe pattern. We had one yesterday too. If you don't know what that is, just kind of look it up. But and this is a problem when you get into harmonics and stuff, and it's a problem that I tend to run into sometimes too, where I'm so caught up in the measuring everything out. Sometimes I just forget the basic crap, like is that a pipe pattern? I mean, it kind of looks like it, except they're not identical. But anyway, but that's definitely a reversal pattern. I mean, you can just look at it and tell. But that's the way I traded it. I shorted this pattern, and I think I covered it 161.8. Yeah, I covered right around in here, 161.8 on this. Actually, on this candle right here, I covered. And why did I cover on that candle? Any takers? Why I covered right here on that candle? You would be correct, because everything about that candle says it's going to go the other direction, right? And so that is the complete break pump. We had another one here. That was at 1.272, but we had the first one here up around 61.8. Another break pump down here, and this long-legged doji here basically was just like, yeah, we're going to turn around. So whether it did or not, I wasn't about to play that game, because typically when we have a run up like this, which is probably what everybody was expecting today, typically you'll build, not typically, yeah, maybe typically, you'll build out, you get this pullback, which is just a normal harmonic thing. And, you'll possibly build a W in the middle, build this other shoulder, and then you'll just kind of pull back down. You build that M. And it could be a bit of a consolidation day, or it could just be, a retrace back down to like 78.6 and then turn around and go the other direction. So many things, possibilities, right? Yay, stock trading. So what we built this W, right? So I played this. So I played it on the way down, and just because it was exhausted, if I were to look at all of the things that I had been paying attention to, like it pushed and then Bollinger Bands and all of the other things. So I know that we had pushed outside of those bands this morning. So anyway, and just so I guess so it's clear, I was just looking here at the how we pushed outside of the bands here this morning. So we did here as well on the 1 hour. And so that's the thing, you push outside of those bands, at some point you're going to snap back into them. And the further you are out of them, you can, depending on other things that you're looking at, you can guarantee that the further you go out of them, the harder you're going to snap back into them. So I'm not saying guarantee. I guess you can definitely, it's more likely than it is not likely, I would. And then, I played the short at the end of the day too on this last shoulder. So we had this W that pushed up here, and everybody thought it was sorry, let me jump back over here. I don't think I'm on the right thing. So we have this right shoulder that built here, and everybody was expecting that to pull. So what happened there, so we needed to get up here today, right? There were some like ABCD patterns and stuff that kind of completed up here. This pull right here there was I almost said a hurricane, an earthquake, and there's a room that I'm a member of. And in that room, we actually chatted about it, right? About this earthquake and the relevance to this. So right at this time when this started to pull, right when that earthquake happened, just kind of shows you what algorithms do, huh? So, but we ended up getting where we needed to get. Then at the end of the day, we pulled right after the close, we pulled. So, yep. Fun times. So this W here, and so the reason that I traded this to the downside over here is only because, and I will be very clear about this, the only reason I did is because I have this, which pushed to 161.8. All right. And so the significance of that is that from down here, we pulled to here, which is about 50%, and we turned around and went to 161.8, which is considered a shark pattern. So there were two things that will happen on the other side of a shark, on the back side of a shark pattern when you trade the end of that pattern. So the first thing that could happen is exactly what happened. It pulls all the way back down to pretty much where it started. It'll stop right here, which is where it stopped, right? It'll kind of stop around this point, and then it'll pull all the way back down. The other thing that could happen is it could stop at a 50% retrace, and that's called a 5-0 pattern, and it'll turn around and push back up, right around to the same area. Just based on the way that we'd pushed today, and that it was after hours, and that everybody was buying, trying to push this up into the close. There was no doubt in my mind it was just going to pull. And so, I could have been wrong, right? And it would have turned against me and I would have cut it. But, I was just fairly certain. So that's the day. That's pretty much how the day went. It was just a smooth trend day, had a pullback, and, you just kind of went from there. So anyway, I don't really know what else to say other than, something that we mentioned yesterday, right? That it looked like it was, chances of going up were far more likely than going down. We can hop out a little bit and see if we've got see what this pattern now looks like. So I drew this morning just to kind of see, if we were to push, because there was this ABCD pattern, this bigger ABCD patterns that looked like it was setting up. Let's check it out. Turn that off, right? So something like this here. And this was just a bit, actually, this was just a bit of a guess, just based upon how far it had pulled, kind of to where we might retrace maximum. Yeah, it was pretty bang on. And it was just an 88.6 retrace of this up here. So why is that important? Well, it's because it's a pattern completion. So if we were to push this up even further, we can say that we're looking more at a 78.6 completion, which is more along the lines of a cipher. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of the area that I would have expected. Oh, look at that. While we're talking, it's still trying to pull on us. Yeah, so, so what happens next? Well, that's to be determined, right? We've pushed up a number of days, but there are still other patterns that take us higher. And I'd mentioned those patterns, right? There's patterns that take us up to 400. Now, does that mean we're going to hit 400? Well, hell, we're 15 points away. We're not too far away. So do I think we're going to go there tomorrow? No. But at this point, I'm not gonna discount it and say that it won't happen. Chances are that we'll bang into this trend line here. From the high, we'll bang into this trend line here, and we'll pull back. If I were a betting man, that's kind of what I would look for. But and that's in my head, that's the bias that I'm going to carry. But it doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. we could also say, oh, okay, well, in that case, let's just draw a trend line right here. Oh, we could just bang into that trend line and, look at that. We could just turn around and move up again, right? So, who knows? You just have to look where the money's going and what's going on and, how things are trading. Trade what you see, and just be prepared to cut if you're wrong. So, yeah, I mean, we have a pattern here, and I think I mentioned it in a video yesterday, right? That we have this, there is a crab pattern somewhere. Here it is. There's this crab pattern here that completes up here as well. So, but again, if we are to, let's just say, have a bit of a pullback, let's see if maybe that doesn't happen. If we pull back to here, let's see what that looks like as far as a retrace. Let's see if this line is at 61.8 and we get a failed cipher pattern. That wouldn't be disappointing. But that is going to be more, possibly. Yeah, so 61.8 would be right over in here. Yep. Yeah, that pullback's going to be... I'll have to measure that out. For some reason, I don't trust that tool. Let's look at this. Let's get rid of retracements and let's measure this out. So let's look at this. So we are at 61.8, which is, we're a little bit beyond it, but that's okay. And let's see what this is here. Ah, that's what it is. We're at 1.618, so that's too far. That's too far for a cipher. Too far. So what we could possibly get is an 88.6 retrace, which would be a shark pattern. Who knows? I guess I'll have to go back and reevaluate. I mean, again, I don't really plan these videos. I just kind of go through, and as I discover a lot of these things, I just talk about it out loud as I would normally do to myself. That's why I tend to ramble on in these videos, or sometimes 20 minutes. So yeah, if we were to get that kind of a retrace, an 88.6, we would need at least an 88.6, which would be down here to 359. I don't think the market's just going to have a big tug like that. It's happened. All it takes is some really crappy news, and then the market just has a big pull in it. If all these earnings this week are all bad, I guess it's entirely possible. Because honestly, I think that this push has really just been in anticipation of earnings. Whether to try to get us up to this 400 and complete it, or to just pull it back down, right? Because a lot of times people will run up, and these market makers will load up, and that way when it pulls, they make more money. And that's just how the world works. I mean, and that's not something that's ever really going to change, right? It's just a thing that you have to learn to anticipate. So, because if you learn to anticipate it, when other people like that make money, so can you. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited to see what tomorrow brings. I just put a video together as well that mentions being excited and getting up out of bed. So don't forget to check that out. Just about, kind of the mental aspects of trading. So yeah, again, I like making these videos. I tend to ramble on a bit, so I'm not going to apologize about it. I'll try to do less of that unless you like it. But if, tell me what you like and what you don't like, and I'll try to do more of it. I've had somebody mention to me they like when I draw the fibs, so I try to draw as many as I can, within reason. So yeah, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, and all of the things. Clap your hands and stomp your feet. And yeah, I will see you next time.